Hi, this is Dan Sullivan, and it's a great pleasure to welcome again the Exponential Wisdom Partnership with Peter Diamandis, talking about the combination of technology as an exponential force on the planet, but also the wisdom that would be necessary for that to be a good thing for everybody. I sent you an email afterwards. I said, this is the greatest 5-day learning experience of my entire life, and I've had some good ones. But we went on your part of the abundance program, the Platinum Longevity Trip, which you organized, curated, integrated, moderated to Boston and New York. But one of the events that it was both an event and it was a learning experience was to Morristown with your longtime friend and partner, Bob Harari,
Yes.
and his clinic there, which is really, at the forefront of using the placenta as a phenomenal new resource for regenerative health in a way that we can't even imagine right now. But also that it's kind of an introduction of a very, very significant one over about a 25 minute on the new remarkable medical platform that you're creating with a number of partners called Fountain Life, which I have to tell you, of all the things that I'm dissatisfied about healthcare and fitness over a 77-year lifetime, you check off every one of the boxes that you seem to be solving almost everything, especially for entrepreneurs who really want to have an extended career, an extended healthy life. I think what you're creating there, and it's already in existence in 5 locations, and just remarkable. So can you just give me what you're thinking about with this, because you've experimented with it in different ways, out of your interest for yourself and your interest for other people. Where did this come from? The name Fountain Life, where did that come from? What's the thinking there? And then what is already available? And it's especially available for the target entrepreneur who attends Strategic Coach. So I'm deeply interested in making this information available to everybody.
Sure. So let's begin with the fact that there's nothing more valuable than having your health. I remember when I was sick one time, Joe Polish, our dear and mutual friend, shared a quote with me that said, the man or woman who has their health has 1,000 dreams, and the man or woman who does not has but one dream. And it's so true. What does it matter you create wealth for yourself and your family if you don't have your health? So the challenge is that the medical system today, healthcare in general, is ridiculously broken. The US is a travesty in that regards. And the fact is that the traditional annual checkup that you go and, the hammer on the knee, the listening to your lungs and your heart once a year is so in the Stone Ages that we don't realize it. So a number of years back, and this started back 8 years ago on this journey that I did with Bob Harari initially and Craig Venter, who sequenced first human genome. I took a first shot at this with a company called Human Longevity in the Health Nucleus, which is in San Diego, and it does a fantastic job on diagnostics. But it was about 3 years ago that, along with Tony Robbins, Bob Harari again, Mark Benioff, CEO of Salesforce, and then an incredible physician, Bill Kapp, we created a new company called Fountain Life. And, Fountain Life, the term comes from, the fountain of life, that concept. We ended up creating a organization, and, you can just go to fountainlife.com to check it out. But you join as a member, and there's a couple of different membership levels. But as a member, every year, first of all, you're uploaded. We term it uploading, where your full body MRI at super high resolution, we MRI your brain vasculature, your entire body, which is a critical step in detecting any kind of cancers or aneurysms. We give you a GRAIL test, which is just brand new. GRAIL is a liquid biopsy. It looks for any kind of cancer cells in your blood that could have come from a cancer someplace. We give you what's called a clearly coronary CT. And this is a AI overlay that looks at your coronary vessels in your heart. These are the vessels that bring glucose and oxygen to your cardiac tissue, to your heart. And it uses AI not to look for calcium in your coronaries. People have heard of like a calcium score. If you have a low score, that's good. If you have a high score, that's bad. But if your coronary arteries are calcified but not blocked, it's stable. The real challenge is plaque in your coronary vessels that is soft, that can break off and block a vessel. So clearly looks for that. Then we do your genome, your full blood chemistries. And so 150 gigabytes of data to find out, is there anything going on inside your body? But it doesn't stop there. You have a concierge doctor that you have through the year assigned by Fountain Life. But we also have a performance facilities and recovery facilities. So if you have any kind of surgery, or if you want to increase your muscle strength, we have these eGyms with an AI overlay. Then we have really the cutting edge of regenerative medicine, stem cells and exosomes and a whole range of regenerative medicines. Because it's not enough to find what's wrong. It's also important to say, okay, what are you going to do about it and how do you fix it? Two other important parts, I'll just mention them quick. We can talk about them, which is that we have 5 facilities today, 3 in the Philadelphia area, 1 in New York, 1 in Naples. Naples, Florida. Yeah. We're onboarding an additional 10 over the next 18 months, 2 more in Florida, 1 in Dallas, 1 in LA, I think the UK, Dubai, India. So it's going global in that regard. And if you live near one, it's amazing. And I'm excited to have one very close to me here in Santa Monica. But we've also created a digital overlay, and it's called My Life OS. It's an app you can download. It's going to be, I'm not sure when people are going to be hearing this episode, but you go to fountainlife.com and you can find out if it's available to download yet. But it becomes an app that allows you, no matter where you live, to access all these services. Mm-hmm. And will identify all of the MRI machines that are at the high resolution, and the MRI sends the data to our AI or the clearly CCTA and so forth. So I talk about it in the abundance world, the 6 Ds, mm-hmm. that when you can digitize something, it dematerializes, demonetizes, democratizes. And that's our goal, to dematerialize our centers and make them, democratize them where they're available every place.
So the first D, you skipped the first D. So from your sense, how long were you in the deceptive stage before?
Well, we're still in the deceptive stage, I think, before we disrupt healthcare. I mean, we'll be in the deceptive stage until some large population starts realizing that their current access to healthcare sucks, or is, doing them a disservice, right? Yeah. A breakthrough in science takes something like 17 years on the average to get to your physician's office. It's unbelievably slow. Yeah. And one of the things that Fountain Life is doing, and you mentioned this to me that you were excited about it, is we become the fiduciary for your health, and we're scanning the world constantly for every breakthrough out there.
Yeah, well, the thing that really strikes me is that you have big systems. I can think of Johns Hopkins. I can think of the Mayo Clinic, the Cleveland Clinic is a major center, Northwestern. There are these big centers, but they tend to be totally proprietary. They want to do their own research. They want to do their own science. And I get a sense that for the most part, as intentional, they don't play well with others. The people within them don't necessarily play well with others, and they as a system don't play well with other systems. And the beautiful thing that I love about yours is, first of all, it was created almost entirely by entrepreneurs. It's the old Lincoln thing, of the people, by the people, for the people. And it's basically entrepreneurial from top to bottom. And the whole point is, if anybody in the world has a great about it, and we include it in our service.
Yes, it's really important to me that when there's a breakthrough identified, we have an incredible medical advisory board that will review it. Is it safe? Can we make it available?
Yeah.
And if it is, we roll it out in every center and we make it available on the app. Mm-hmm. The analogy I use, it's a terrible analogy, but it's the best one, is like Starbucks. If there's a new type of coffee, you can get it at any Starbucks, not just the one near you. And so it's really rolling it out that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Dan, there is one other thing to mention about Fountain Life, which I'm super excited about, right? Because people can say, listen, getting this full body MRI, the Grail test, the clearly CTA, coronary angiogram, and genomic testing, it's expensive. I can't afford that. Well, we've just created something that I think is an amazing breakthrough, and it's called Fountain Health Insurance. And so we have created a health insurance company as a division. It's available today just to companies that self-insure. We're starting that way. And if you sign up for this health insurance program, the premiums you pay every month, you get all of this testing for free for your employees included in that insurance. And you get the health insurance on top of that. And it's like, I've been saying this, and I wrote about this in my last book, The Future is Faster Than You Think. That insurance has it all backwards, right? Fire insurance pays you after your house burned down. No, I want fire insurance to stop it from burning down. Life insurance pays your next of kin after you've died. I said, no, I don't want that. And health insurance only pays out after you're unhealthy and you've suffered disease. So Fountain Health Insurance, the concept there, and again, you go to fountainlife.com if you're a self-insuring company to find out more. The concept there is, no, we're going to test you on a regular basis and find disease at the earliest stage when it's most easy to cure, and save the health insurance lots of money downstream when you're paying to deal with a stage 3 or stage 4 cancer, and save you a lot of heartache upstream. Mm-hmm. So I'm super proud about that.
Yeah. The thing that I love about this is that it's almost every part of it is proactive rather than reactive. The entire medical system is reactive. I mean, even the best part of the medical system is reactive right now. The proactive part about it is where, first of all, your scanning of what's being developed in the world is an active activity. It's a full-time activity to continually upgrade what someone gets from the Fountain Life experience. The other thing is that the ideal clients for this are the entrepreneurial community,
Sure.
And, we're encouraging them in our own way within Strategic Coach to plan a career that's 25 years, 30 years longer than normal. And they can do that with their imagination. They can do that with their teamwork. But what's been lacking on our side all the time is, well, yes, but what's the means for actually regenerating their health, regenerating, their fitness on a continual basis? And this combined with the work that you're doing with the longevity trip, I think the longevity trip and this fit together perfectly. But my notion, and we'll talk about this, in the coming month or so, I would like to create a specialized strategic coach program where we take something that's fundamental to coach, which is the lifetime extender, and we now put that into a form where you integrate it with the means that are actually available. And then people have all these direct connections taking action on this. I just got a feeling that regenerative medicine is the dynamic center of human development over the next 50 years.
Yeah. You can be as wealthy as you want to, but you still can't take it with you. And what wouldn't someone pay for an extra 20 or 30 years of a healthy life? Not slobbering in a wheelchair, but having, like you and I both are working towards, the vitality of clear cognition, great mobility, and you look reasonably good. And you get up every day and you're excited to live life, right? Mm-hmm. And there's a number of things that are important to get you there. The first is you have to have a purpose and a passion bigger than what you had before, bigger than just getting to retirement age. That's probably one of the most important undervalued things, right? And you and I both have incredible drive and passion and missions and, what I call your massive transformative purpose. And the other thing is not dying from something stupid is the way I put it very bluntly. It's like, wear your seatbelt. And, most of us are optimists about our health, and we don't realize that, something could be going on inside your body you don't know about because we don't check. And so I go for my digital upload once a year. Maybe I'll go eventually twice a year. But when I was delayed by about 3 or 4 months from COVID, I got nervous. Like, I feel exposed. I feel like, what's going on inside my body? I haven't, peered in lately. I'd like to know, make sure everything's good. And, the great result was when I went this past year, and I do it at both Health Nucleus and at Fountain Life's facilities, I was in the best shape I've been in, the last 5 years I've been doing this testing. So that was a great reward.
Yep. Yep. Well, that's great. And we'll make sure that this particular episode gets out to all of our strategic coach clients.
Yeah. Let me hit on some of the other things that people should know about. We've talked about it a little bit before, and I think you and I epitomize this in the right ways. The first is, let's talk about sleep, diet, and exercise for a second, because, what Fountain Life is going to deliver is knowing what's going on inside your body and cutting edge regenerative medicine, which are both critical, but there's stuff you should be doing right now, which is like just basic. Let's talk about sleep first. Dan, what do you do for sleep? How much sleep do you strive for? Any hacks? And I'll share mine with you.
Yeah, I'm pretty good. One of them, I eliminated television from my life. I just don't watch television at all, but I used to have the habit of checking in the evening, and I noticed it would always extend me. One, it would probably get me to bed half hour, 45 minutes later. But the other thing about it was I was jangled. I was electronically jangled, and I was content jangled. So I just eliminated that. I'm in my 4th year now, and it's made an enormous difference. I have a CPAP machine, which I've had for 12 years, and it gives me a recording of when I'm asleep. And for the last 60 days, it's about 8.3 hours per night I've been asleep. And there's other ways you can go deeper with your sleep, but that's satisfied. I have a lot of energy. I get up at the energy. Yeah, and we have a very, very normal, same time every day, go to bed, get up. It's pretty consistent. And the other thing, over the last year, not having any travel has made a huge difference. No air travel, long distance travel.
Amazing.
Yeah. So that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. For me, I shoot for 8 hours, and I'm pretty consistently getting minimum of 7. I get close to 8 hours a day. I go to sleep early. So I'm trying to be in bed by 9:30 because I get up, at 5:30 to do my writing when I'm in the morning. I set my air temperature at 65 degrees in the room. Yeah. And I have a chili pad, which is sort of a water cooling system.
We use a Nuller.
Yeah. And I set that at 65 as well. I've got a great set of eye shades that I love, my Manta mask.
I use those red glasses that Dave asked for black eye.
Yeah. One thing I did, I eliminated TV as well. And what I do instead is I have Audible on a timer, and I listen to whatever book I'm listening to for 15 minutes. It's like being read a bedtime story. And that just knocks me out. So sleep is great. Let's talk about diet and then exercise. So on diet, anything you particularly do on diet?
I do intermittent fasting, minimum of 10 hours and sometimes 14 hours for my last meal, the evening meal to my first breakfast meal. Okay. Babs is really terrific about what we eat. Nothing special, but lots of vegetables. We get hardly any carbs in our diet. Protein, fish. I'm an omnivore. I can eat anything. I have no real food allergies or anything. On Saturday and Sunday, we generally only eat 2 meals.
Yeah.
So the last meal on Saturday and Sunday is usually about 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, which gives us 13 to 14 hours of no eating, which actually, you can get used to it. I never missed a meal in my life. I mean, but David Sinclair has had an impact on me, and other people have had an impact with the intermittent fasting. And I really like the Juvenescence. I went through both boxes of Juvenescence that you gave as a handout there, which is instant ketosis supplement. So I'd be interested in signing up for that for good.
Great.
Yeah. What about you?
On my diet side, I was a vegan for a couple of years. I went on a high protein keto diet for 6 months and so forth. And what I settled out on, first of all, there's no one diet that's right for everybody, right? It really depends on your genetics.
And all the time, or forever.
And so there's one hard and fast rule, which is minimize sugar. Sugar is truly a toxin. It's a poison, and it causes tremendous amounts of inflammation, cardiovascular, neuroinflammation, and
Cancer food. It's
cancer food. Yeah,
food.
it fuels cancer. I went on a 22-day no sugar challenge out of the last longevity trip. We formed a WhatsApp group and we all, minimized carbs and no sugar for 22 days. And I had more energy during that time than I ever had. I reduced my blood pressure meds by 50% and I lost 5 pounds, and it was amazing. And I realized I could be off sugar, and it's a addiction that you can lose. So I minimize sugar at the maximum degree I can. I try and drink at least 2 liters of water a day. I've learned to constantly pound water. I do intermittent fast, and I do it a little bit longer. I'll have my last meal around 6 p.m. at night, from between 5:30 and 6:30. Mm-hmm. And then I will skip breakfast and I'll eat lunch. Like today, I haven't eaten since 7 last night, and I'll eat around 1 or 2. I'll have a late lunch. And so I try and do a 18-hour, 19-hour fast. As much whole plants as possible, veggies, and then I will limit my protein typically to fish, salmon, tilapia, a little bit of chicken. But again, staying away from tuna and staying away from swordfish, which are super high in mercury. So that's my diet. Mm-hmm. You are incredible on the exercise front. You inspire me on your exercise regime, Dan. So let's share that with the rest of the group here.
Yeah, well, it's sort of collected wisdom. And then again, different people like different exercise. And I always have really liked vigorous aerobic, and I really like vigorous lifting. Okay, so I have a routine that has about 10 different variations on it, but the 2 essential ones are squats and squat. If you could only do one exercise in life, a lifting exercise, squats, not squats with it on your shoulder, but squats where you're pulling it up from the floor, is actually best. It hits 8 different muscle groups. So I do it with free weights. Started at the beginning of COVID at 40 pounds in each hand, and I'm up to 65. I'm just about ready to move to 70 pounds.
Wow.
So I'm doing 140, but I wear a 30-pound weight vest. So altogether, when I'm lifting, I'm kind of lifting somewhere around 160, 170 pounds. And I do 50 reps over about an hour. And the other thing I do, Peter, and I got on this about 6 years ago, there's a thing called an elevation training mask.
Yes.
The elevation is a frivolous thing. It's not about elevation because they try to indicate that you have less oxygen. You got the same amount of oxygen. It's just got a series of adjustable valves and gauges which gradually reduce the amount of air that comes in, and you have to use your lungs. Your lungs just have to get stronger. And I've done the tests, where they test, how much you can breathe out and how much you can breathe in.
Your VO2 max?
Yeah, my VO2, that's part of it. Where do you cross over from aerobic to non-aerobic? And my VO2 max is, I'm 77 years old, and being in your high 140s is really good for that. And I'm right around 170, my crossover between aerobic. Yeah. But the other thing is I have tremendous output, push out, and I've been tested on your exhaling, and I'm around according to normal standards, whatever they're based on, a curve of some sort. And I'm around 150, 140, or 150%. I just have really good lungs.
And that like VO2 max is one of the things best correlated with longevity.
Yeah. And the reason is oxygen to the brain. You just get tremendous oxygen to the brain. And then, I do a lot of other lifting exercises. So muscle, it's strong muscles, strong heart, and my heart's real strong, my lungs real strong. So that, and I've done, accurate age things. And when I was 73, I was 73. It's very interesting. Like when I was chronologically 73, I was biologically 73. I'm now 77 chronologically, and I'm 64 biologically.
Nice.
Yeah. And I'm doing it the hard way. I said, when you hear some of the stuff that Peter's doing, you'll do it the easy way. So that's the big thing. I'm very consistent. I have a weekly total I have to hit. So it gives me flexibility on days, or some days when I can
That's a great way to look at it, because that flexibility does help you psychologically. So you're not failing when you miss a specific day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, I do try and hit 10,000 steps a day. And if like today I'm on Zoom or writing since 5 a.m., I will take an hour and go for a vigorous walk and listen to a book, or I'll invite a friend that I want to have a business meeting with, and we'll do it as a walking meeting here in Santa Monica. But I'll shoot for 10,000 steps as much as I can. And then there's a free app put out by Johnson & Johnson I love. It's called the 7-Minute Workout. It's squats and push-ups and dips and jumping jacks and one-hand rotating push-ups and lunges. In 7 minutes, it gives you a great workout. And then I have free weights that I'll use for a variety of exercises. But it's critically important to get that exercise on a consistent basis.
Yeah, the one trick that I found, there's this aerobic trick. You can do it on a Peloton, you can do it on a treadmill, you can do it on an elliptical. And it's a 10-minute thing that's worth 60 minutes of aerobic impact.
Cool, do tell.
You do 3 minutes of just warming up, slow pace. At the 3-minute mark, as hard as you can, a 20-second sprint. Mm-hmm. Then you do 2 minutes of resting, 20-second sprint. So you do 3 20-second sprints with 2-minute intervals. And the aerobic impact for the rest of the day is equal to an hour.
Wow. I believe that.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Actually, very intense fast things have an enormous impact on the body.
Let me ask a final question, then we should probably wrap this up. And I hope people have see this as inspiration for increasing your health span and what you can do, giving yourself control of your health.
Yeah.
The other element we talked about briefly is mindset. Do you ever expect you'll get bored over the next 50 years?
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope. Funny thing, I'm always setting deadlines where I have to produce a result bigger than the result I've produced in the past.
Yeah.
And I get scared. There's a point in the project where I get scared. I'm not going to pull it off. And being scared, I think, keeps you from being bored.
Yeah. There was an old saying once that it's important to get scared every day. I believe that. You have to challenge yourself every day.
Yeah.
Well, Dan, I'm so happy we found each other in this journey called life and in our pursuit for healthy longevity. And as I promised to you, I will be scouting out there in the world.
Yep.
And delivering the insights.
Yeah. And, it's such a pleasure. I want to tell you that all my clients know that when I'm talking about this area, that I'm tapping into your explorations and your mapping out of areas. It gives me a great deal of confidence about what I'm saying, but it also gives me a great deal of credibility, because my central skill is entertainment, and sometimes my entertainment has trumped accuracy. So you're a corrective to my tendency to give inaccurate, entertaining facts. So I just want to let you know that.
Thank you. And being an engineer and going to medical school has made me very accurate on facts as a sort of psychological requirement, not to ever express something I'm not clear about.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Dan, thank you. That was a fun episode and looking forward to our next one together.
Real pleasure. There's always great new things to talk about, Peter. So great.
Yeah, absolutely.